Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être là et désolé du léger retard. Je viens de terminer en chambre. Nous venons de poser un geste, de présenter une motion procédurale qui fera en sorte que nous pourrons être plus productifs ici et surmonter à l'obstruction conservatrice que nous avons observée depuis le début de ce Parlement. L'obstruction conservatrice qui, à répétition, même sur des projets de loi qu'ils disent appuyer, ce sont des choses qu'ils continuent de poser des motions d'obstruction, des motions dilatoires et d'empêcher le progrès que nous souhaitons réaliser pour l'ensemble des Canadiens. So you saw that I just presented a motion in the House of Commons that will help us do our jobs better, will give us more time to debate more legislation that will have a positive impact on Canadians' lives, and will overcome conservative obstruction. We're really calling, we're going to see what kind of game they have, whether they want to be here till midnight debating these things, and we'll see how really strongly they feel about it. These are bills, many of them, that they say they support. Childcare, for example, that they refuse to allow to come to a vote in this chamber. But we're going to work through Mr. Poilievre's temper tantrums. We're going to work through conservative obstruction, and we're going to get things done for Canadians.
Your party is not innocent from, using these type of tactics that you're accusing the Tories of doing. We've seen other parties aside from, Tories and Liberals do it as well. How is this different, and what are you trying to achieve here?
I think our track record is a pretty good one when it comes to respecting our commitments, bringing in those bills, bringing in those budgets that we said we're going to do. We, I think, have an outstanding track record. You just need to look at the order paper to look at the kinds of things that we are looking to pass right now. The fall economic statement includes things like dental care. We're looking to pass child care legislation, sustainable jobs legislation, and I could go on all day. But these are all things that only because of obstruction and chaos that the Conservatives wish to rain down on this place, we are not getting to vote on. So we are going to try and move those things along.
And when will we see C-50, speaking of trying to move things along?
Well, it's a very good question. The Conservatives, as you know, put up, I think it was 20,000 amendments on an 18-page bill, so that speaks very eloquently to the kinds of tactics that they are deploying here. We have a long lineup of legislation that we want to, whether it's coming back from committee like that one is, or whether we seek to get it to committee so that we can hear from Canadians on their opinions. That is part of a long line of legislation that we want to make progress on, and we're hoping that this motion helps do us.
Est-ce que vous n'êtes pas en train de dire que, en tant que gouvernement libéral minoritaire, vous n'êtes pas capable de faire avancer les choses? C'est un petit peu de votre faute, c'est vous autres qui êtes au gouvernement.
Nous sommes bien entendu minoritaires et nous croyons commander la majorité des élus dans cette Chambre pour la vaste majorité des projets de loi que nous proposons, que nous amenons. Mais ce sont les conservateurs, de par leur tactique d'obstruction et de chaos, qui empêchent aux députés et à la majorité dans cette Chambre de s'affirmer, de pouvoir démontrer justement que le gouvernement a l'appui de la majorité de la Chambre pour des mesures comme les garderies, pour des mesures comme les emplois durables, pour des mesures comme les soins dentaires.
Est-ce que vous n'êtes pas en train de vous donner beaucoup trop de pouvoir?
Non, ce qu'on est en train de faire, c'est d'allouer plus de temps pour des débats en Chambre, de faire en sorte que les députés puissent s'affirmer pour des projets de loi, et c'est destiné à vouloir rendre le Parlement plus productif et pouvoir avoir une capacité accrue de produire des résultats pour les Canadiennes et les Canadiens.
With the pharmacare issue now settled, apparently, do you expect this Parliament to go the distance, to go all the way to June 2025?
Look, we wake up every day and know that we have to maintain the confidence of this Parliament, and we work very, very hard at that. We're very consultative about that. We put forward bills that, for the most part, have the notional majority of the House of Commons. What we're trying to do today is overcome temper tantrums by Pierre Poilievre and obstruction by Conservatives that is systematic, even on things that they support. They say they support. They obstruct. they won't allow things to come to a vote. So we're going to wake up every day and we're going to work hard for Canadians and make sure that in so doing that we continue to enjoy the confidence of this House and fulfill the mandate and the commitments that we made in the last election campaign.
This motion is about 1,000 words long, very technical. Can you explain to us exactly what it would do?
Yes, it allows for evening sittings so that we extend the hours of debate that are available on any given bill, on the bill that's being debated that day or another bill, so making Parliament more productive. And it also would create a health break so that members are not forced into this spectacle, this chaotic spectacle that Mr. Poilievre put us into before Christmas of voting for 30 consecutive hours on the things Canadians come to expect from their government.
So stop overnight votes?
It would create it would not stop the kind of abuse that he showed in putting 130 individual items up for a vote. That could still occur, but what would happen is those votes would stop at midnight and resume at 9 a.m.
But with this evening sitting extension or sitting hours extension, can you kind of explain how that would help legislation pass forward more quickly if the Conservatives are still holding up bills and not letting them get to second or third reading?
Well, any time you have a bill in the House of Commons, many members want to be able to debate that. The Conservatives say they want to be able to debate some things ad infinitum, and that's why things don't move, because they continue to put up speakers. So we're giving them more time to do that.
Stop that, you still need to provided that they don't, at one point say, hey, we're done debating this, you'll still have to use time allocation.
What it will do, let's be honest, is bring into very sharp relief the fact that their objections to bills are generally not principled. They are only about obstruction. They are only about stopping progress from being made for Canadians. They are only about putting up this temper tantrum and this show that Mr. Poilievre seems to order them to do every day.
You're still going to have to use time
It must be a very
basically.
depressing existence for a Conservative member of Parliament to serve only to feed the temper tantrums of their leader.
Has anyone from your caucus expressed health concerns following that 30-hour voting marathon?
I don't think staying up for 30 consecutive hours voting on billions of dollars of expenditures is a good way to tell Canadians that we're taking this work seriously. Mr. Poilievre has a lot of answering to do for the fact that he forced that and then decamped from Ottawa and gallivanted all over the country while he left a corporal's guard of members in this House to put up a fake debate on estimates. So of course it's not healthy. It's not healthy for anyone. No nurse, no doctor, no concierge, no anyone in this country should be subjected to that kind of thing. No workplace would ever tolerate that kind of behavior, least of all one that is voting on billions of dollars of supports for Canadians.
La loi sur la haine en ligne, qui vous essayez de protéger?
Les enfants, les jeunes. Je vais laisser le ministre, bien sûr. Je pense qu'il va vous parler plus tard aujourd'hui. Il s'agit d'un projet de loi très important sur lequel le gouvernement œuvre depuis fort longtemps. Un projet de loi très, très important que j'estime singulier dans son appui aux jeunes et dans sa protection pour les gens qui sont exposés à de nombreux dangers en ligne.
Je me sens ému. Est-ce que vous avez une histoire personnelle à partager?
Non, mais tout député a des histoires personnelles à partager parce qu'on représente des commettants qui sont sans faute affectés par de tels dangers et des parents qui viennent nous en parler. Moi, je peux... partout où je passe, les gens me parlent de ce que les médias sociaux, ce que la violence, si vous voulez, langagière en ligne peut faire avec leurs enfants. Et oui, donc on se doit d'amener une certaine émotion à tout ça.
S'il vous plaît.
Well, this is very important legislation. The government has worked on it for a long, long time. It is meant to protect children from harms. As a parent, as someone who represents, as we all do, parents who speak to us all the time about these dangers and how they apprehend and how they watch their children sometimes go through horrible experiences online. I think any responsible government has to act.
Are you
Conservatives,
hoping
the
that it will
Conservatives
go
have
to
already
committee?
said,
Well, of course, we're hoping it goes to committee.
I mean, are you hoping that this bill will, this motion that you are proposing today will help speed along the process to get online harms at least to committee before the big break happens in the summer?
We have a lot of, and one thing I think is often overlooked is this has been a very productive parliament up until, Mr. Poilievre started getting more desperate with his temper tantrums. We've put a lot of solid things that I think Canadians have now come to count on in place. And we're here to get more results. And that's what we're going to keep doing.
the Conservatives have said that this legislation is an attack on freedom of expression.
Yeah, of course they do.
So what will you be doing to try and get this legislation
Yeah, well,
passed?
Mr. Poilievre came out in support of a digital ID last week. And he came out in support of a bill that we think that the government voted against and we think is flawed. We think that this response is a much more comprehensive and meaningful response to the dangers posed online than the bill that he supports. And it's pretty cynical of Mr. Poilievre to be opposing this bill when he says he wants to protect children as well.
Poilievre does say he doesn't support a digital ID. I guess what other mechanisms?
Well, the bill does.
So what concerns do you have, I guess, then, regarding S210? Some Liberal
He
members
says he
did
doesn't
vote-
support a digital ID that is contained in the bill that he supports.
Some Liberal members did vote in favor of it. You know, are they going to be walking back their votes? Have you talked to your caucus about
the online harms bill, we think, is a more comprehensive response to the issue, and I suspect that you'll see that Liberal MPs will much prefer that bill. Merci beaucoup.